Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Joe and welcome to a brand new video. Now today we're going to be doing another video about unused content in Team Fortress 2. Now what's really interesting is you guys seem to love the unusual effects video I did. You guys seem to really enjoy it and had a lot of cool opinions about the effects themselves. So what I thought I'd do was revisit the TF2 wiki to see what other unused content lies within Team Fortress 2's files, and sure enough there was 7 cosmetics that were created and in the coding for the game that never actually got fully implemented into the game. These were all created for TF2 but never got put into cases or item drops or anything. So these are 7 hats that you will never see in Team Fortress 2. Now I think that a lot of these cosmetics are actually really cool, and it's going to be really interesting to hear what you guys think down in the comments below. So if you could drop down into the comments below and leave what one of these is your favourite, I think it would be really interesting to hear about. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting hats here, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this first item is the Bonk Flash for the Scout, and as you can see, and judging from the name as well, it's a direct reference to the superhero Flash. Of course, we have items like the lightning lid, which are variants of this, but this hat was meant to be added way back in the Man Economy update, which was an update released to Team Fortress 2 way back in 2010. So if this item was added to the game, it would have been added along with things like the Dr. Dapper's topper, the old Guadalajara, and interestingly, it would have been the only other Scout cosmetic. The Scout was the only class in this update to receive just one hat. There are a few classes that didn't receive anything, such as the Spy and the Medic, but the Scout only received one, which was the Bombing Run, so it would have been interesting to see the Bonk and Flash added. Now, as I said earlier, you may think this is kind of similar, and that is because the Lightning Lid is now in the game, which is a bit of a variant to the Bonk and Flash, and it's speculated, according to the TF2 wiki, that the main reason the Bonk and Flash wasn't added into the game was because it was removed due to copyright concerns, and I think that's very understandable, you know. It's like a spandex mask as the Flash wears. It's obviously a direct reference to the Flash, whereas when we compare that to the more recently added cosmetic being the Lightning Lid, there's obviously been a few changes made. He's wearing like a metal helmet. It's got small variations that make it a bit more specific to the Scout, which I think is the reason this one passed and the Bonk and Flash was scrapped. And it would have been really interesting to see if the Bonk and Flash was an unusual, what kind of price this thing would be fetching. It is a relatively cool looking hat, and you could probably make a lot of nice sets with this, especially with cosmetics like the Speedster spandex that were added more recently. Just some food for thought. So up next, there's not actually a picture of this one, but this is the Bullseye's head, which is a scrapped cosmetic for the Scout. It was meant to be a grinning head of Bullseye, which is a character from the Monday Night Combat game. So if we look at this picture of Bullseye, we can kind of imagine this is the kind of hat that we would see on top of the Scout, and it honestly strikes me as it would be something a bit more like a Halloween cosmetic. Of course, I think it does kind of fit the style of like the Max's severed head, where it's literally a head based off of another character, but apparently, according to the TF2 wiki, it was too large and visually disruptive to fit into the game. So it was discarded, and instead of the Bullseye's head, we received the Essentials accessory, which is a different part of Bullseye's costume. We've still got that green and white color theme, however, it's a bit less noticeable and a bit more subtle than the Bullseye's head, but really interesting to hear about that. Honestly, I know the Essentials accessory are kind of like a very popular cosmetic, and especially like a higher tier one, and it would have just been interesting to see if there was a full set based off of this character from Monday Night Combat. Now this next one is a bit more of a boring one in my opinion. This is the ID badge, and as you can see, it's just a little clip-on badge that I would assume kind of goes around the chest region of the character like the Duck Journals etc. do, and as the name would suggest, it's literally just an ID badge but with the Team Fortress 2 logo on it. However, it is worth noting that you would have been able to use the decal tool on it, so the chances are the Team Fortress 2 logo was just there as like a placeholder. Now the ID badge was meant to be added back in the Maniversary update way back in 2011, but in 2013 the files for the cosmetic were removed from the game. And as a lot of you may be kind of familiar with the photo badge, which is an incredibly similar style of cosmetic. It does use the decal tool as well, and it takes up the same equip region of that chest region. However, as opposed to being an ID badge, it's literally just a small stack of photos kind of clipped onto your character's shirt. So yeah, it would have been interesting to see how the ID badge would have looked. The chances are it wouldn't have been an overly popular cosmetic, much like the photo badge, but still just really interesting to think about nonetheless. This next one was actually meant to be added to the game relatively recently, being in the Scream Fortress 2016 update, and it was a soldier cosmetic that essentially strapped what seems to be a dead raccoon over the soldier's head. Now, this was added into the game's files and supposedly meant to be in the creepy crawly case in the 2016 update, but was removed from the game's files just 5 days after. So it's really interesting to think why this wasn't added into the game. I think maybe there would have been a few issues with it. A few people may have not been so keen to wear a dead raccoon around their soldier's hat, and I really can't imagine this in unusual form. I mean, a Burning Flames one would have just been an incredibly questionable cosmetic to wear, but I just think it's really interesting to see that this wasn't added into the game, especially so recently as well. It's not like this was scrapped years ago. Well, it was scrapped years ago, but in comparison to the 2010 and 2011 updates, this really wasn't too long ago, and I'm really interested to see if it maybe will make a return in future Scream Fortress updates. Now, this next cosmetic I'm actually a big fan of, and the fact it wasn't added to the game deeply upsets me. This is the Legionnaire's lid for the soldier. Now, I'm really intrigued as to why this wasn't added, because it fits a very common theme that we have with the soldier, with items such as the Defiant Spartan making an appearance into the game. It's an incredibly similar hat, that kind of like Roman style with the fur going from the front all the way up to the back. I'm just quite intrigued as to why the Legionnaire's lid wasn't added into the game, but as you can see, it's a very similar style to the Defiant Spartan, and maybe the Valve team at the time just thought the Defiant Spartan made more sense to add into the game. It was a bit more serious looking, I suppose. It doesn't look as much like a toy as the Legionnaire's lid does. But yeah, it would have been fully paintable as well, is what I'm reading on the TF2 wiki. So the chances are it would have been paintable in the same way the Spartan is, where the kind of fur going from the front to the back would have changed colour when paint was applied. So up next, guys, we have quite possibly my favourite cosmetic of the bunch, being the mummy eyes for the pyro. Now, this was added into the game in the November 1st 2013 patch, which would have made it a part of the Scream Fortress 2013 collection. And even in the Scream Fortress 2013 bundle icon, the mummy eyes could actually be seen. However, it was never attainable in the game. So initially when I saw this cosmetic, I 1,000,000,000% thought it would have been a haunted. As you can see, it's kind of like wrapped the pyro's head in the way you would a mummy, but both the eye holes appear to be shattered, and I just think that's such a cool look, and I genuinely think it's so amazing, and I genuinely don't know why this wouldn't have been a part of a Scream Fortress collection. I mean, it literally fits that Halloween theme perfectly, and I genuinely think this would have been up there with The Last Breath in terms of usability. I definitely think that this would have been used in a lot of loadouts, especially during that Halloween period. We'd see a lot of pyros rocking out with the mummy eyes. So let me know what you guys think as to why this wasn't added. Do you think it could have been like a copyright thing perhaps, or maybe a disagreement with the artist? I'm genuinely intrigued. The same goes for any cosmetic. If there's any cosmetics you think you have a reason perhaps why it wasn't added, definitely let me know down in the comments. I think it's a really interesting discussion point, because none of these cosmetics are particularly straying away from the art style or anything like that, and there's no real reasons that I can think of as to why they shouldn't be added. So the final hat of this video is the Sam's hat, which is a scrapped promotional item for all classes, and there is no picture for the hat, but it was going to be based on Sam from Sam and Max. As we can see here, Sam holding a revolver, which is of course the big kill. However, you may be thinking to yourself, this is very similar to a cosmetic that's in the game now, being the Bloodhound. It's an identical silhouette near enough. However, the Bloodhound is a multi-class cosmetic, only available for the Sniper and the Spy, whether the Sam's hat was meant to be all class. And according to the TF2 wiki, the main reason this cosmetic was scrapped from the game is because the TF team had trouble getting the hat to fit each class properly, which probably explains why the Bloodhound is only available for the Sniper and the Spy. But that is it for unused cosmetics of Team Fortress 2, guys. These are 7 cosmetics that were meant to be in the game but never quite made it. If you did enjoy this video, then please do remember to leave a like and let me know your thoughts down below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this and general gaming content, then do be sure to subscribe. Thank you again so much for watching, guys, and peace.
The craziest part